Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 22 of Touring the Londonverse. I'm your host ScottBGaming and today we'll be looking at a promotion known as Dynamite USA. Now what's interesting about Dynamite USA is it's actually part of an alliance in the Londonverse data, that being started by Pro Wrestling Dynamite based in Japan. Now the idea behind the Dynamite Alliance or organisation, however you want to call it, is that eventually, hopefully down the road when in a later edition of the data, there'll be a Dynamite territory in each of the gaming regions, or something similar to that anyway. So Dynamite USA is actually the first affiliate of the Dynamite Alliance, as I said, started by Pro Wrestling Dynamite in Japan. So this will be quite interesting to have a look at this company. It hasn't been covered yet, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it now. And as you can see from here, I selected James' avatar with the default stats, so everything's right down the centre, and I've simmed up to the first day of the show, which is their weekly television show, which is Weekly Explosion, I believe it's called. So we'll go right into it. And we'll see here from the main promotional hub that I've taken over as owner of the company for the purpose of the video. We're at cult size, we're ranked 4th overall, which is quite surprising seeing as they're not supposed to be the biggest member of their own alliance, let alone one of the biggest promotions in the gaming world. It's just how the ranking's done based on importance. And we've got a little over $5 million to spend. So our prestige is at C, momentum is C, and as I said, the next show is DUSA Weekly Explosion. What we will do is we'll have a quick look at the roster, give you a bit of a flavour of what to expect from that, and we start with Aaron Dark. Now Aaron Dark is one half of the tag team known as the Brotherhood. I think given his abilities in the ring, as I said, I've taken Fog of War off, so it gives a better overview of what the person can and can't do. And as you can see from here, he's actually pretty talented. However, I do like him as being part of the tag team of the Brotherhood with his partner STO Fiorenza, who we'll be seeing later. He's a mid-carder at the moment, got the Acolyte gimmick. I think when I originally did a video review of this company, a lot of people started drawing comparisons with Assassin's Creed, and that's probably more to do with the name STO Fiorenza than Aaron Dark. But anyway, I like the gimmick, I think it works for the tandem, and I'm happy to keep them in the tag team ranks for now. Move on now to Abraham Sound. Now what's interesting about Abraham Sound is that originally when the data was being worked on in the 2010 version of this game, he was actually classed as an upper mid-carder, even though he was the DUSA Open champion. Now, had to do a little bit of tweaking as a result of that because it seems relatively unrealistic to a certain extent to have someone who's not a main eventer hold the company's main title, unless it serves a particular storyline purpose, which this actually didn't. He was just decided to be the champion by the booker, got given the belt and went from there. Now he's 32 years of age, he is a main eventer, which is pretty good now. No gimmick needed, and as you can see from the statistics on the right hand side of the page, he's pretty fantastic, especially at the technical ability and even a little bit of the aerial, which kind of gives us a bit more of a look at how DUSA has run as a company. It's very much a kind of Dragon Gate-esque company, but obviously it hasn't got as many imports, although obviously with the Alliance you can trade talent and do that if you wanted to. But for the main part, it's an American version of Dragon Gate, so like Dragon Gate USA in the real world. I guess that'd be the equivalency. Now, I think as a champion, he's not the most charismatic. He's certainly no slouch in that department, but I think a lot of people might find it difficult to think up ideas for him. Not necessarily me, because I like keeping him as the champion. Originally, I thought I'd throw it in there as a curveball, because he's one of the more unremarkable characters on the roster, although he is technically very good. So I thought it'd be more interesting just to see how people would deal with him as being the champion going forward. I mean, I don't think I'd have a problem myself, and I think this company actually in general would make for quite a good diary if any of you budding people watching these videos out here wanted to do that. Move on now to Augustus Clark, the End of Days Augustus Clark. Got the preacher gimmick, talking about how he can save everyone. You get the whole shtick based on that one sentence alone, I think. He's 29 years of age. In the ring, he's actually not bad at all. Lower mid-carder, I think in the short term, I wouldn't see him getting any higher than mid-carder. I think this is his level for now. He's certainly not old and not past it, so he's got time to maybe become more relevant in terms of my idea for what I'd do with the company going forward. But he's certainly a good hand to have round. I have no problem with that. Move on now to one of the elder statesmen of the roster, and that's Benson Heat, 35 years of age. He's a Japanese junior, lightweight. He was very much influenced by that style of the work rate in Japan, and I think that's helped him get a job basically in DUSA. He's no slouch in the ring, certainly. We've got technical ability and aerial ability is fantastic, two of the key components for anyone who wants to do the Japanese junior style, really. And I think his microphone and charisma is okay, but I think that might slightly hold him back in certain other companies, with bigger companies like the AWF and even CWE. I think this is probably the pinnacle of where he'll get in his career. He's currently pushed as a mid-carder, but I wouldn't have a problem with seeing him rise to upper mid-carder or even main event status. And given his age, you'd probably have to do it sooner rather than later, because 35 years of age, based on the style he does, you'd need to get the most out of him now rather than later, I think. Move on now to Mr. Bobby Sweet. Now, Bobby Sweet was very much, I'll be honest with you, as a rip-off of Larry Sweeney, the late Larry Sweeney, and I think the data was being worked on so long ago now that it might have actually been done before Larry Sweeney passed away. I just thought he was a fantastic manager, one of the best of this generation, certainly, and I wanted a character based on that I could book in the London verse. I thought it was my data, I can do what I want. So here we see Bobby Sweet, who's the leader of the Sweet and Sour Corporation. Now, not only is he an entertaining manager with the executive consultant gimmick, he can actually go a little bit in the ring, which is quite unique, I think, as far as a managerial competitor goes. But the problem with that is he's so good at what he does, often CWE and even sometimes AWF come calling for him. It's usually CWE offer a contract for him, and because they're obviously a bigger company, 9 times out of 10, Bobby Sweet's going to leave. So sadly, he's got his stable in the company at the moment. We'd probably need to look for a replacement going forward, or work out a quick storyline to be able to disband the unit that is the Sweet and Sour Corporation in the company, which is a shame. But you know, I can't blame CWE for wanting to take him. Probably one of the people I'd look to take if I was them myself. Move on now to Calvin Dean, a former independent wrestler in his own right, now being used as a colour commentator for DUSA. Very much a guy who cheers for the heel antics, a bit like Jerry Lawler, but with a little bit toned down, I guess, and more Jesse Ventura-esque. I think that's a fair comparison to make. I'll let you be the judge of that. Move on now to Calvin Whittle. Now, I really like Calvin Whittle, mainly because the character is mental. If you just think about it, I'll give a bit of a breakdown for you. Calvin Whittle claims to be from an alternative universe, which would be our real world. So much like this is a fake universe, our real world would be his fake universe. And he is said to be quoting famous wrestlers from this alternate universe, such as people, although they wouldn't be mentioned, like The Rock and Stone Cold, and using catchphrases of theirs, but obviously with a little twist for him. So, and that's the bottom line because Whittle says so. Something like that. Just, you know, this can be taken for anything. So he's shooting out these fantastic promos that no one understands what the hell he's referencing, what he's saying, but I think that'd just be fantastic, and the writing material for this character would be superb. I think it has so many opportunities. He is a mid-carder, gimmick, comedy incarnate. It kind of works with everything there. He's 31 years of age. I think he's pretty entertaining and one of my favourite characters on the roster. Even though he's not the best in the ring, I think overall he brings quite a lot to the table, which is good. Move on now to one half of the Megabucks tag team, Cameron Buck, the younger of the two brothers. He's 26 years of age, Japanese junior style. Chain wrestling, mat wrestling, submissions, aerial and flashes are all pretty good. I mean, he is 26 years of age, so there's still ample time to improve. The only thing he is lacking a little bit in is microphone and charisma, but this is something that can be worked upon over time. You could even put him in the feud with someone who's more charismatic and watch him develop from there. But this is a guy that, as a tag team worker, I think he's going to be very good, and later on as a singles competitor, I think he'll do very well as well. He's only an He's only an opener at the moment, which I don't see any real problems with. Something that can be built upon for the future. Move on now to Chase Future, the self-proclaimed man of the next generation. Lightweight mid-card heel, cocky youth, managed by Lord Winston Smythe, and he is the current DUSA No Limits champion. Now, the No Limits champion is almost at the Intercontinental Championship level equivalent in WWE. In ring-wise, he's a bit of an all-rounder, not exceptional in any one area really, but I don't think that holds him back at all. He's pretty proficient at what he is able to do, so a very solid hand to have as a champion on this level, and he could probably drag out a lot of decent matches from the people around his level, so that's quite good. Always handy to have. Move on now to Cole Lowe, upper mid-carder, dual sports superstar. I believe he was a graduate of Syracuse University, and I could be wrong, but I don't think he actually ever went to play professional football, or professional American football, depending on which continent you're on. and he went into wrestling, and then, you know, from there he's got the dual sports superstar gimmick. His brawling and his technical wrestling isn't too bad, to be fair, but his brawling's really where he hangs his hat. As an upper mid carder, might be difficult to see him doing well in this company just because he doesn't really have the style that fits it, because he's got the brawling gimmick. I mean, it's not bad. You need a little bit of diversity in all companies, I think, and he kind of fills that niche in this one. But I do like Cole, though, but like I said, just for this kind of company, I don't know how well he's suited, so it could be a case of him being one of the individuals that maybe doesn't get re-signed when his contract comes up. Move on now to the elaborately haired Corey Finn. He's a cruiserweight by trade, lightweight, upper mid-carder. He's got the gimmick of a dancer. He's one half of the tag team of the House of Soul. We'll see his tag team partner shortly, Leroy Barnes. And very much just an entertaining cruiserweight with flippy floppy moves. Not based on the guy, but probably in-ring wise, I see him similar to Human Tornado. I think that would be someone who you could envisage doing the same kind of style. Anyway, Corey Finn, I like him in the tag team division. Move on now to the elder brother of the Mega Bucks tag team, and that's Danny Buck. Danny Buck probably has a little bit more upside than his brother. He is a year older, so he's had a bit more time to develop. He's in the lower mid card, so he's already one step higher up than his tag team partner. And he's also got the fan zone gimmick. Again, everything I said really for Cameron Buck goes for Danny Buck as well. He is just a good hand to have, and I think he's going to be someone who you can build your future around as the company in general. Move on now to Deng Cao. Deng Cao was Chinese by birth, middleweight competitor. He's an opener, fun babyface, someone who I see just kind of getting the crowd warmed up a little bit and hyped up for the show. I don't see much going forward for him. I wouldn't rule anything out though. I'm not saying he's a wasted spot on the roster, but for the immediate future, I think that's what I'd be doing with him, having him either in dark matches or opening matches, just to see what he can do and let him develop a little bit. Move on now to one half of Shamrock Heights tag team, Eamon Fitzpatrick. 31 years of age, Irish, lightweight, got the cruiserweight style. A lot of these workers actually you could see fitting in quite well with the AWF actually in their cruiserweight division, but I digress. He's managed by Bobby Sweet, and he's one half of the DUSA tag team champions. So, you know, he's got a position on the card which he'd be proud of, I would have thought. Like I said, upper mid-carder. In-ring wise, he does have good abilities, both technically and aerial wise. His psychology and consistency in selling, they're all pretty good. Again, keep him as the tag team for a while. If the need or the storyline ever arises where he could go out as a singles competitor, I wouldn't say no, I wouldn't stop that. I'm not opposed to the idea. Move on now to the other half of the Brotherhood tag team, STO Fiorenza. This is probably where the Assassin's Creed links were made previously by other people that have seen videos of this company. I guess I could see it based on the first name of SDO. I think there was a character in the Assassin's Creed franchise called Ezio, so that is close. But again, it was just a different kind of gimmick that we were going for here. We've got a cruiserweight competitor, also lightweight in size. And as you can see from his in-ring abilities there, he's damn good actually. Probably make a very good singles competitor for the company if the Brotherhood should ever break up. I don't know what tack up is. Is that even a thing? I don't think so. Moving now to Edgar Banderas, a former star in Mexico. Decided after unmasking that he wanted to head to America and basically be an egotistical showboater, and that's what we have here. We've got an egomaniac character. His ability as far as technical capacity goes is pretty good. He's the eldest member of the roster, I think, at 38 years of age. He's no slouch, certainly, but I wouldn't have him go too much higher than mid-carder, so lower mid-carder seems about fair. Useful guy again, though, to have on the roster. Move on now to the younger Fitzpatrick brother, and that's Frankie Fitzpatrick, one half of the tag team champions and one half of Shamrock Heights. Mid-carder, cocky, managed by Bobby Sweet. Pretty much, again, everything I said for Eamon Fitzpatrick applies here. Probably see a little bit more upside in Frankie Fitzpatrick, so the roles are reversed in this one, where I see for the Megabucks tag team, I see Danny, the elder brother, being probably going to have more success in a singles career. I actually think Frankie Fitzpatrick, being the younger brother of the Fitzpatrick boys, he probably will have a brighter career going forward. At least that's how I'd say, or how I'd see it as a brief overview of those characters. Move on now to Gerald Richins, the road agent for the USA. He former professional wrestler from Canada. That's all you need to know. Move on now to Harrison Silva, 34 years of age, American junior. He's obviously in-ring style is that of a Japanese junior, main eventer. One of the better cruiserweights probably to never get a look in at the AWF. I think this... Yeah, in fact, it even says as much in the bio. He's probably one of the better cruiserweights to never have got a shot in the AWF, and AWF's loss is DUSA's gain in this case, because he is a main eventer, got a machine gimmick, not the most charismatic. He's not the worst though, certainly, but everything else he's pretty great at, and the Silver Tongue facelift finisher is awesome. I imagine, I don't know. I think it's a good name for it, so it's got to be a pretty brutal finisher, you would have thought. Move on now to Hunter Wolf. Great facial hair. If you ever see a 2K or Astil doing a video of this company and he criticises the facial hair of Hunter Wolf, don't let him, because it's great. And that's coming from me, and I'm important because I say so. Anyway, Hunter Wolf, again, another main eventer, rebel gimmick. He's on the face side of things. And, yeah, again, one of my favourite workers in this company. He would be someone that I would want to get the title on from Abraham Sound. They're both faces at the moment, but that could either be worked into a triple threat or multi-man match, or even turning Hunter Wolf as a heel, which I think would work quite well. Or perhaps even turning Abraham Sound to give him a kind of darker edge that he might lack otherwise. Hunter Wolf, pretty damn good for this promotion. Fortunately, he's on a written contract. Move on now to Ian Stout, a younger prospect in the company. He's an enhancement talent, so he's the lowest rung of the ladder. Ignore the gibberish. Royalty gimmick, a little bit like Hunter Hearst Helmsley back in the day in look, if nothing else. And the fact he's called the American Blue Blood, or that's the nickname for him. I do like the guy. He's someone who you could definitely see working his way up the card with his statistics. I mean, chain wrestling, mat wrestling, that's really strong basis to build upon, and charisma is pretty good as well. Microphone's not bad, so he's got all the tools there to be able to become a great star. It just depends how he's booked and if he gets a good Destiny role. Here we have Jacob Harmon, a youthful all-rounder. He's mid-card, clean-cut gimmick, not too many, well, he's not very edgy as a character. I think he's relatively cookie-cutter in that respect. Not a bad look by any stretch of the imagination, and certainly not bad in the ring. A bit of jack-of-all-trades, master of none, I think would be fair to say. But again, he's someone in a position where he could go either way. You could escalate him to the main event scene, or keep him where he is, or, some people might want to get rid of him. Personally, I'd keep him around the level that he's currently at, but if he were to develop and, put in good performances, I'm not against pushing him up the card a little bit further. James Avatar, that's myself. Leroy Barnes, the bad brother, and the other half of the House of Soul tag team. He's got a cocky gimmick, bit more edgier than his partner, but the tag team works. I think they're quite fun to have around. You've got a little bit more kind of charisma with Corey Finn than you do with Leroy Barnes. And to be honest with you, Leroy Barnes he's not great as far as technical wrestling goes, but his aerial ability covers up for it, and it's it's important being a cruiserweight competitor to be able to actually do that. So I think the tandem works well together. Upper mid carder as well, so he's already in a great position. Move on now to Lethal Shizzle, one half of the tag team Subject to Prejudice. Fantastic tag teams. One of the earliest tag teams I think I came up with for the London Verse Data. I just thought of the tag team name and thought, that's great, we've got to work with that. And Lethal Shizzle is one half of the duo. The other part is coming up shortly, and that's MC Chaos. Lightweight competitor, got the rapper gimmick, although it's very much white boy rapping, not the best. But, he carries himself like he thinks he's all that. In-ring wise, not great, but I think he'd get over based on entertainment value alone, really. And again, someone whose promos you could probably quite enjoy writing along with Calvin Whittle. Move on now to the abrasive Lomas Hayes. From what I recall, he's a little bit of a dick backstage. He's a main eventer in this company, got the cocky gimmick going, 35 years of age, so relatively elder statesman. You think he'd know a little bit better, and he's okay in the ring as well. There's nothing to sneer about there. Deserving of his main event spot, I would be concerned about giving him the title purely because I don't know how he would actually act with it. Whether it would give him an ego boost or kind of make him think, now I need to set an example. Probably the former rather than the latter, if I'm being honest with you, though. Move on now to the manager, Lord Winston Smythe from America. He can be manager or personality, never wrestles. Very small man, though, very small indeed. And he's got the gimmick of being a gentleman. So, kind of a mastermind character for the heels on the roster. I think he fits in just fine. He's also managing Chase Future, so he's managing a champion in the company. So he's doing all right for himself. And here we have the tag team partner of Lethal Shizzle, that's MC Chaos, the other half of Subject to Prejudice. A little bit better rounded, I think it's fair to say, than Lethal Shizzle. I prefer Lethal Shizzle's look, but MC Chaos is actually better, even though he does have gold-plated teeth, which is always a problem. Again, the rapper gimmick, and everything said for Lethal Shizzle would apply here. In fact, MC Chaos probably could go on to bigger and better things if the duo were ever to break up. But, again, the promos, they just really write themselves for these guys. Move on now to one of the infamous Adorn family, the youngest member of the Adorn brood, and that's Mikey Adorn. 25 years of age, cruiserweight competitor, very much goes against the ethos of the Adorn family, known for technical mastery. Not that Mikey Adorn's terrible in that area, he's got C and C+ in chain wrestling and mat wrestling respectively, but his bread and butter is his aerial and flashiness. And, he's got already a good grasp of the basics and psychology from his upbringing, graduated the House of Adorn, decided to spread his wings, and has finally made a name for himself in Dynamite USA, where he's an opener, so he's starting to make a name for himself, I should say. But Daredevil gimmick, with his ability, his heritage, he could go all the way, he really could. Gregory Yoll, the referee, that's about all you need to know. Lee Mantle, also a referee. Now, Roderick Stevens is the former manager and moderate success on the independent scene. He was offered a contract by AWF, but actually rejected it because he wanted to retain his professional credibility. Anyway, long story short, he had a good relationship with Yatori Ono, the PWD owner, Pro Wrestling Dynamite's owner in Japan, and was given the permission to open up the American affiliate, DUSA. He is now, obviously, his authority figure would be his push here, but if you weren't playing as the company, this would be the man that would be in charge of things. Scotty Bessel, all-knowing Scotty Bessel, cruiserweight competitor, probably one of the least talented workers as far as in-ring ability goes. His aerial's B-, so that's nothing to, look down upon, but 37 years of age. For me personally, I don't really see much of a future in him for the company. I would keep him around, certainly, but he'd probably be losing more than he would win. Seth Stevens, cult leader, Sinner Seth Stevens, also no relation to Roderick Stevens, the company owner. Quite a charismatic all-rounder, and again, this is a brilliant person to have in the main event scene as far as I'm concerned. I think the main event crop of talent, with the likes of Abraham Sound, Seth Stevens, even Lomas Hayes, although he's a bit of a dick. And Hunter Wolf. We've got 4 good people. Harrison Silver as well would have to be included in there. A very good group of people that you could pretty much have any of them hold the title. So you've got a solid base from there, and you've got quite a talented undercard as well to build upon going forward. Sean Thompson is the announcer. Don't need to know about him. And Thorn, upper mid-carder, the creature of the night. Very vampiric in appearance, a cult gimmick. In-ring wise, he's okay, certainly. Nothing too spectacular. He's a brawler by trade, so he kind of falls into the same category as Cole Lowe, although I think he's got a more upside to him. He's 3 years younger, if nothing else. And you could probably have him in some fairly decent matches. So, again, someone else who you could elevate to the main event scene in short order. And finally, Yuto Hashimoto. Main eventer as well, no gimmick needed. Very much a kicking kind of hard-hitting worker with a Puroresu style. Very much a kind of silent assassin, I'd have to say. He doesn't really do much talking. I mean, he can do. He's able to speak English, and his microphone's not terrible. But I would just use him to go in there and just kick some ass. A little bit like Loki, I guess. He rarely talks, just goes in there, just kicks the living shit out of people and goes home. So that's what I'd use for Yuto Hashimoto. And also the only Japanese talent we have in the DUSA brand. So yeah, there you go. He fills another niche. But that is the overall roster of DUSA. I think you'll agree it's a pretty outstanding bunch of characters, if I do say so myself. And we'll go from there to have a look at the titles. So we have, again, all these title belts created by the fantastic Mr. MJ Stark. Thank you very much, sir. We start with the DUSA No Limit title held by Chase Future. The DUSA Open titles held by Abraham Sound. And the DUSA Tag Team titles held by Shamrock Heights, aka the Fitzpatrick Brothers. I don't believe there are any storylines started. Oh, there are. Fantastic. So we start off with DUSA Chase Future versus Jacob Harmon, the No Limits title feud basically. So we've got the No Limits champion has claimed to be the biggest star in DUSA right now and has issued a come get me to anybody on the roster who thinks they can beat him. Answering that call is Jacob Harmon, a young up-and-comer who seems just as keen on shutting the mouth of Lord Winston Smythe as he does on winning championship gold. Shamrock Heights versus the Brotherhood is the tag team title. Sweet and Sour Inc. and DUSA tag team champions Shamrock Heights have been taking on all comers in DUSA, with manager Bobby Sweet threatening to have the duo signed away by the AWF if they were not offered more money immediately, and the longer they leave it, the higher the price will be. The Brotherhood have made it the mission to take the titles from the Irish Americans and remove any leverage that Sweet and Sour Inc. has over the DUSA board. That's quite an interesting storyline. Even though they're not needed with any storylines, we've still given them some. And Sound versus Stevens versus Hashimoto, a triple threat for the main title. The DUSA Open champion Abraham Sound, having won the title in a triple threat match against former champion Seth Stevens and hard-hitting Yuto Hashimoto, is still trying to fight off the challenge. There's a few typos, but that's to be expected. Trying to fight off the challenge from both adversaries. Yuto is the fan favourite, and this has seemed to provoke heelish tendencies from the champion, so it's already teasing an Abraham Sound heel turn. Quite interesting storylines there. Have a quick look at the selection of tag teams. We've got the House of Soul, Corey Finn and Leroy Barnes. Mega Bucks, the Cameron Buck and Danny Buck brother tag team. Shamrock Heights, Eamon Fitzpatrick and Frankie Fitzpatrick. Subject to Prejudice, Lethal Shizzle and MC Chaos. And the Brotherhood, Aaron Dark and SDO Fiorenza. So yeah, I will have a quick... Oh, there are no stables because the only duo managed by the Sweet and Sour Corporation over here is Eamon Fitzpatrick and Frankie Fitzpatrick. Not a massive problem, but we can now have a look at the creative meeting. So the franchise players, we've got Seth Stevens, Abraham Sound, Yuto Hashimoto, Lomas Hayes and Harrison Silva. Apart from Hunter Wolf, that seems about right. Next big things, Cameron Buck, Chase Future and Den Cow. Chase Future's good to have on that list. Cameron Buck surprises me. I thought Danny Buck might be the one on there, but he might be classed as too old. Although I don't think so, because Chase Future's also 27, so as is Den Cow. Hot prospects, Cameron Buck, Chase Future, Jacob Harmon, Den Cow and Mikey Adorn. Talk the Talk, Bobby Sweet of course, Seth Stevens, Lethal Shizzle, Edgar Banderas and Ian Stout. Showstoppers, Leroy Barnes, Abraham Sound, Corey Finn, Lomas Hayes and Ian Stout, so both members of the House of Soul tag team getting on that list. Ring Generals, we have Abraham Sound, Yuto Hashimoto, Harrison Silva, SDO Fiorenza and Leroy Barnes. Who's hot? Yuto Hashimoto, Seth Stevens, Abraham Sound, Lomas Hayes and Thorne. Who's not? Calvin Whittle, that's a shame. Augustus Clark, Lethal Shizzle, Edgar Banderas and Scotty Bessel. Apart from Calvin Whittle, I'm not too concerned about that list. Time Decline, no one, which is great. Hidden Gems, again, this is still being worked on in the background, although I notice a lot of the same people are popping up despite adding quite talented workers that, to be fair, are relatively unknown as free agents, but there you go, this are the ones that the game's suggesting. Clayton Purdy, Logan Prince, Ed Stein, Lee Harrison and Samoan Stud. Samoan Stud making about the 18th appearance on Hidden Gems. And that brings us to the actual show itself. Now, Okay, we'll do the Magor Arena, that's fine. Backstage rating is 79%, that's good. We like that. We will also, well, not we will also, we will just book the show. So, right. Let's see what we want to do here. What I might do, have a tag team main event where we put the champion, Abraham Sound, alongside one of his partners in Yuto Hashimoto, to kind of again further sow the seeds of a heel turn from Abraham Sound, and he'll go up against the other challenger, Seth Stevens, and someone who's relatively high up on the main event side of things, heel ideally. So Lomas Hayes would be the obvious choice from that list because Seth Stevens is already in it. Okay. We'll let this go a decent whack of time. Probably near 20 minutes is going to be the absolute maximum though. So have it go about 19 minutes. And I'm actually going to have Seth Stevens get a win over Abraham Sound. So again, this will kind of have a little bit of a coming together of minds at the end of this match. Might put an angle there, I think that would be well suited. It will be an open match though. But it's going to have to be a relatively quick finish. So flash pinfall. That will... Slow build? Could we do slow build for 19 minutes? Probably. To a big finish that's a quick finish. So yeah, that's probably an oxymoron, but we'll go with it. And that will do. I've already added that. Click the wrong button, that's why. Cool. I'm happy with that. We will have another tag team match where Brotherhood, a face tandem there, will be going up against a heel tandem. House of Soul seems about right. We want the Brotherhood to get a win. Let it go about 12 minutes. 11 minutes. Victor, I'll let Estio get the win. Loser will have Corey Finn take the fall. Again, open match. Don't really want to have too many squash matches in this kind of promotion unless it serves a purpose. Okay, so we'll move that back. Right, we'll have a singles match here. I think we'll get Harrison Silva into the action. And he will go up against... it's too much of a gap there. I was hoping Thorn probably. Not a bad shout. Okay. Silva to get the win here. About 10 minutes. We'll have the loser obviously be Thorn. Again, force of habit for anyone that's going to ask me why I bother doing that. I just do. Again, open match though. We'll save that. Move that back. I feel like... Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll leave it there. Problem is though, Abraham Sound and Yuto Hashimoto, I don't know how well an angle with them would do to end a show, but I'm going to try it now that I mentioned it earlier. I think we'll have a multi-man scramble. It will be just some of the lower guys on the card, so we'll get Benson Heat on there, Augustus Clark, Calvin Whittle, and not Chase Future, Edgar Banderas. This will be the one that I'll let the computer pick. We'll go about 8 minutes. This will probably open the show. Right. Want another singles match here. I think Hunter Wolf I want to get a win. I was leaning towards Ian Stout, to be honest. But I think I'll go Scotty Bessel. Like I said, this guy will be taking more losses than he will be winning. Doesn't need to go too long, about 8 minutes. Okay, so that'll be the second match. Right. So we've booked, let's see, 67 minutes. I think I'll put one more match and then a few angles. So I'll have the tag team champions as well on the card. I'll have a promo with Chase Future, so he'll get on the show as well. Megabucks face tag team. They seem to be the right ones to take the loss to Shamrock Heights. I might also give Subjects Prejudice a promo. Again, about 8 minutes, because I think Megabucks are a bit lower on the pecking order. So Victor will be, just go with Eamon. I don't really mind which one of the Bucks lose, so Cameron Buck. Yep, that's fine, I don't want it to be a title match. That'll probably go about there. Actually, no. We'll have, that might bring the crowd down a little bit, so yeah, I'm happy with that as far as the matches go. Now let's put some angles on. So we'll have confrontation. Right, let's see how we want to do this. Right, argument following loss, I think that covers it up best. So, Abraham Sound and Yuto Hashimoto. That'll go about 4 minutes. Just end the show seeing them pushing and shoving and arguing. Bit of a sports entertainment kind of finish that actually, but that's okay. We want a promo. And we want Lethal Shizzle and MC Chaos. Just talking nonsense. 5 minutes saying why they're the best thing going, and maybe throw in a little bit of a rap there for good measure. Just before the actual tag teams start to put on their shows. Okay, it takes 86 minutes, so I've got a little bit more wiggle room here. I'll put another angle on. So I want a promo or hype maybe. Do I want hype? Hype. No, don't want. I clicked on the wrong one, that's why. So managerial challenge. So it's going to be Smythe. Lord Winston Smythe. And this was going to be the person who's going to come out and accept it. So it'll have to be Jacob Harmon. Although I think that's going to go down like a lead fart. Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. So we'll say he draws it out. He's a relatively good talker. Don't have Bobby Sweet talking, actually. So maybe we'll have a Bobby Sweet promo as well. Has to go 5 minutes. That's excessive. Okay. Right, we'll move it back a little bit. Probably have it just after the first match. And do a little just Bobby Sweet talking smack about how he's going to take the Fitzpatricks away to the AWF. But it's just going to be Bobby Sweet really talking. And he's going to be the one that gets all the attention as a result. And we could probably even use that as a storyline into why he's going. That's going to be liquid gold, I think. And that is our show, 94 minutes, that's pretty good. So we'll have that after Shamrock Heights win. And that should be everything, so we'll just hit save there. And we'll book the show. We'll not book it, we'll run it. Let's see what happens. Okay, in a match that had some good action but not much in the way of heat, Benson Heat defeated Augustus Clark, Calvin Whistle and Edgar Banderas in 7 minutes 47 when Benson Heat defeated Edgar Banderas by pinfall with a Bring the Fire. How can they say it didn't have much heat? Benson Heat was in it. Anyway, that did better than I thought. This did about as badly as I thought, mainly because of Jacob Harmon, I think. Jacob Harmon is in the ring. When Lord Winston Smythe comes out, he challenges Jacob Harmon to a singles match on behalf of his client Chase Future. The challenge is accepted. Kind of the other way round, but yeah, fair enough, we'll go with that. Terrible rating. And we're going to carry on. The match had some good action and average heat. Hunter Wolf defeated Scotty Bessel at 8 minutes 28 by pinfall with a silver bullet. C+, quite happy with that actually. Oh dear. Subject to Prejudice cut a backstage promo. The crowd does not like rapping tag teams, but I like it, so it's going to carry on. D+. Now here we go, this is quite good. In a match that had some good action and average heat, the Brotherhood defeated House of Soul in 11 minutes 1 when STO Fiorenza defeated Corey Finn by pinfall with the Creed. Yeah, now it's starting to seem like Assassin's Creed-y. I think I just might have run with that after a while. B-, quite happy with that. And as I suspected, the crowd got brought down a little bit. So in a match that had some good action and average heat, Shamrock Heights defeated Megabucks in 8 minutes 23 when Eamon Fitzpatrick defeated Cameron Buck by pinfall with a whiskey hangover. Bobby Sweet did some good work at ringside. Eamon Fitzpatrick and Bobby Sweet are a very poor combination. They do not click at all. That probably dragged it down from a C though. Sad, but oh well. Bobby Sweet cuts a backstage promo, rating C, I'm happy with that, although it would have been in the ring after the match. In a match that had some good action and average heat, Harrison Silver defeated Thorne in 9 minutes 39 by pinfall with a silver tongue facelift. And the main event, hopefully that'll be a green. Yeah, and it is, just about. In a bout that featured great action and average heat, Seth Stevens and Lomas Hayes defeated Abraham Sound and Yuto Hashimoto in 90 minutes 27 when Seth Stevens defeated Abraham Sound by pinfall with a fast roll-up. That's good. Hopefully this doesn't bomb too much. Could have been worse. Could have been better. Could have been a lot better as well, to be fair. Abraham Sound and Yuto Hashimoto are in the locker room. Well, they're not. They're in the ring. They argue over who is to blame for their earlier loss, with neither wanting to back down. Eventually, Yuto Hashimoto storms out furious. I think he would have just kicked him in the head and walked off, to be fair. But anyway, that brings us to the end of the show. So C+ keeps us roughly where we are. Not the worst thing, but again, I took chances with finishing on that angle. There's enough talent here to put some really good shows together. This was just an example of what I would kind of roughly do for the first week of TV. I'm happy with that though. I think it covers everything on the Dynamite USA promotion, and that brings us nicely to the end of episode 22. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit that like button and subscribe. It means a great deal to me. Keep this train of momentum rolling. And like I said, please put in the comments below that I know one of the promotion that wants to be covered soon by the people that watch these videos is the NWA. That will be coming up very shortly as well. Any other thoughts and comments, please put them below. I do read them all and I will be commenting back for any questions. So thank you guys for watching. Until next time, I'll see you around.